We've talked about flock cameras before, the ones that photograph every vehicle that passes and builds a 30-day record of where you've been. Well, we have some important updates. The story used to be about rapid expansion and early warning signs. Now, the picture has shifted in ways that matter to every driver. New high-profile mistakes are still surfacing, including one where police tied an automotive journalist in a press vehicle for days before boxing him in and his wife with multiple cruisers in a parking lot. They believe the car was stolen. At the same time, real pushback is working and dozens of cities and towns have dropped their flock contracts after residents and drivers spoke up. Your voice actually matters. The issue has helped build momentum. But here's the part nobody wants to hear. The cameras aren't disappearing. Other companies are stepping in to take over the contracts and keep the same surveillance model running under new names. And some of these systems are now being pointed directly at entrances to stores that sell firearms and at parks and retail locations. This isn't a story that resolved itself. It's one that's changing form while the core problem remains. Before we continue, I want to remind you to like, subscribe, and click that bell for notifications because there's a lot of news coming fast and furious in the automotive industry. These cameras collect data on millions of vehicles regardless of whether the driver is suspected of a crime. These systems are marketed as indispensable tools to fight crime, but they ignore the powerful tools police already have to track criminals, such as cell phone location data, creating a loophole that doesn't require a warrant. Joel Feder of The Drive was reviewing a Range Rover press vehicle when a flock alert incorrectly identified the manufacturer plate as stolen. The reason you have 4 cops here is because your license plate is registered as stolen license plates in our system. Are you serious? Police tracked the vehicle for days before surrounding him with multiple squad cars in a shopping center parking lot. The error was traced to a data entry mistake combined with license plate recognition error. The flock camera misread the license plate 3410 DTM as 34 DTM, incorrectly flagging it as stolen. A man who bought a used car that was already flagged by flock. Brandon Upurch of Ohio purchased a used pickup truck. A flock camera misread his license plate and incorrectly associated with a stolen vehicle. Police stopped him, arrested him, and the police dog bit him before officers realized he was the lawful owner. He later filed a lawsuit. I hope he wins. JC and Carolyn Herron of Tennessee grandparents driving their 3-year-old granddaughter to a doctor's appointment were stopped at gunpoint after a flock alert said their personalized plate levy was stolen. The actual stolen vehicle had a nearly identical plate using the number 0 instead of the letter O. And that stolen vehicle had already been recovered, but had never been removed from the hot list. Stephen Melvin of South Carolina was held at gunpoint after a flock camera incorrectly flagged his black BMW as stolen. He filed a lawsuit against York County Sheriff's Office alleging deputies relied on the automated alert without adequate verification. Again, I hope he wins that lawsuit. The Sherwood family of Arkansas, including a 1-month-old baby, was ordered out of their vehicle at gunpoint after a flock camera misread one character on the license plate, generating a false stolen vehicle. Recent misuse has also raised concerns beyond technical errors. In Georgia, at least 10 officers were arrested for using Flock's database for personal searches, with the company's new audit tool flagging the activity. The incidents have fueled debate over privacy and Fourth Amendment protections, leading cities like Los Angeles to suspend Flock camera contracts over data ownership disputes. This follows the same pattern we've seen before. A single bad entry or AI misread gets amplified across a connected network. The cameras don't just read the plates, they log, make, model, color, and visual details. We've discussed this before. And then they make that information searchable for any participating agency. Police have been told to verify alerts. Yet, the real-world stops show that verification sometimes happens only after the fact. When the input data is imperfect, the output is too. Flock's own materials describe the value coming from the ability to follow vehicles and even people across locations. Publications 700,000 crimes a year are solved with Flock. Flock's Safety Chief Communications Officer Josh Thomas reported crimes in America. Yeah, so there's a lot more that probably are being helped that aren't being reported. But yes, we have about 700,000 crimes that we are aware of that are being solved in part with evidence that's derived from a flock safety device. In order for that historical data to be of investigative value, you have to track every car for 30 days here. Again, I would challenge you on the word track. Tracking the whole of your movements is very different than knowing that you passed by one specific camera, 24 specific cameras. Those are different things. And then the examples of tracking that vehicle from location to location to location. But Flock's own webinars talk about its license plate readers' ability to track vehicles and people. The expansion into private retail adds another layer. Chains like Academy Sports and Outdoors have installed Flock cameras as virtual perimeters around the stores with some units aimed straight at the customer entrance. Every car that pulls in is recorded with time and location. These stores sell firearms and hunting supplies alongside everything else. The data makes no distinction between someone buying a cooler and someone buying ammunition or hunting gear. What we're watching is not the end of the surveillance approach. It's a transition. Cities that can lead Flock are not removing license plate readers entirely. In most cases, they're replacing them with systems from other vendors, often with slightly different contract language around data sharing or retention periods. The core capability, photographing every vehicle and storing the movement, stays in place. The debate has moved from whether to collect this data on everyone to